Hello everyone, I am Crawlers and this is my computer setup video. This is what my setup looks like right now. As you can see, it might not be the best or the fastest setup, but it gets there. And sorry for my shoddy camera work. Before I get to the complete specs, here's all the model airplanes I've built and some cars that I've collected over the years. And yeah, let's take a look in this behind this door right here. There's a lot of classic goodies. I have all sorts of game guides and from old games and classic games like Doom 2 and Doom 3 and Grand Theft Auto 4 and Fallout 3 Collector's Edition. Actually, two of them, and so on. Okay, here I have a printer in my room because I always seem to be printing something or scanning something, and above it, as you can see, I have two prints of Battlefield 3 posters, which I won in the Battlefield 3 January and February premium competition of last year. And the reason I wanted to show you my printer today is kind of because I wanted to show you the setup I have with it. See, the thing is that I seem to print all the time something or other, and the printer cartridges are super expensive, and I think it's about $40 for a complete refill for the Epson A35. And so what I did was, if I can just get this thing open here, is I went to eBay and bought some aftermarket cartridges and refill the bottles of refills of ink. So now I just refill these myself with a syringe through this port right here, and it comes to about $2 per refill. And by the way, these cartridges are only different from the stock ones in that they have a dummy chip in them, and that's it. So let's go back over to the computer now, and as you can see, I have a faster clock of cables going on in and out under my desk. I loosely call it fire hazard. Challenge accepted. Now, some of the cables you might recognize. There's about 6 or 8 USB cables in the PC and a small hub that I screwed to the wall, and there's a monitor connected through an HDMI cable, and because this particular monitor doesn't have a DVI, which doesn't really matter at this resolution, and obviously some other cables like power and such, and there's also because I watch TV on my PC, there's a set-top box with two coax cable TV cables coming in here, because apparently this Fakakta tuner needs two cables coming into it. There's actually one cable coming out of the wall and going into the set-top box, and then a splitter and then two cables going into the PC. So here's a few photos that I've made of the setup from the outside, and it's a cool setup. The speakers are hanging on the wall, and the monitor is a cool Acer S236HL TMJJ model, I think, if I can remember this correctly. And I have a Trek IR on top of it because I used to love flying IL-2 Forgotten Battles and just get, you can turn your head in the game, and it's just awesome in games like Dirt 3 and such. And as you can see, I have a ton of Logitech peripherals. Logitech should start giving me free ones, honestly. I've bought so much from them over the years. I have a wheel, a gamepad, a mouse. Oh, and the headset is also Logitech G35, I believe. The speakers and the keyboard are also Logitech, by the way. Actually, this G15 keyboard, I love it mostly because of the LCD on it. Uh, it had all my stats, and when I had to play, when I played Bad Company 2 and such, and all the resources on it, like CPU and stopwatch and all sorts of memory loading and network loading and such. And it's kind of taken a beating over the years. I've actually dropped a Pepsi on it once and had to completely take it apart, every key and button, with my brother, and wash it with soap, wash it out. And funny thing is, I always drink Coca-Cola, and this is the first time that I've tried Pepsi in 15 years. And the joke I made was that Coke must have paid someone off to ruin my keyboard, because I sort of betrayed Coke and tried Pepsi for the first time. And I mean, it hasn't been right since. The media keys don't work anymore. And here's a photo I made at night of the glowing LED light in my tower. I did for shits and giggles, I just did a 15-second exposure time. And I think it turned out alright, don't you? Okay, so here's a look inside the actual PC. As you can see, I kind of gave up on the wire management halfway through the build, and but here are all the standard goodies so far. I have a 256 gigabyte OCZ Vertex 4 SSD, and two mechanical hard drives for storage and game recording and video editing and porn, but don't tell anyone, and such, that I pulled from a Dell that I had about 5 or 6 years ago. And the power supply is an overkill one for this rig, unfortunately, but it's been working without problems since, as long as I had those hard drives. And it's a power and cooling 910 watt, I think. That, it's still pretty good. There's an AverMedia tuner card and a dual band Wi-Fi card here. And the RAM is 12 gigabytes of G.Skill snipers, I believe. Obviously, they are underclocked some since the CPU is pretty well overclocked. All plugged into the Asus P6 X58D motherboard, I believe. And the CPU is an i7-920 overclocked to 401 gigahertz, I believe, with hyperthreading on. So, as you can imagine, it gets plenty hot. It idles at around 40 Celsius and tops out at around 72 Celsius. So it's being cooled by this Corsair H100 closed water loop with 240mm radiator. And these are aftermarket Cougar Vortex fans on it that I bought because the stock ones were louder than a plane at takeoff. And I mounted them on some 3M bolts that I found in my Russian erector set, and cut them to length actually a little bit because, they were longer than needed. And to mount it to the case, I used these rubber washers to get rid of any vibration, just in case there was any. Obviously, it gets dusty as hell, so I have to undo it every month or so and vacuum it all. In fact, I once tried a push-pull setup because I didn't know any better then, and I think I set a dust record for the amount of shit collected in 3 months on the radiator. Other than that, the graphics card is an EVGA 780 GTX 3GB OC edition, and here's what it looks like when everything is spinning up. So that's it for my setup, I think. Thanks for watching. Please rate and share this video as it helps my channel grow. Check out my other videos at the end of this one. And remember, In Soviet Russia, YouTube subscribes you.